How'd you come to work for the FBI?
I saw the FBI as a place where I could distinguish myself.
Are you familiar with an agent named Fox Mulder?
He's an Oxford-educated psychologist who wrote a monograph on serial killers and the occult that helped catch Monty Props in 1988. Generally thought of as the best analyst in the violent crime section.
Are you familiar with the so-called X-Files?
I believe they have to do with unexplained phenomena.
Alright guys, talking X-Files Season 1. How much of it was based on UFO events like Roswell? Did they expose real UFO cover-up? And is the government hiding the truth?
Yeah, was CIA feeding Chris Carter secrets to expose the truth? Roswell cover-ups and government lies? This is X-Files Unleashed. Spoilers, conspiracies, let's freaking go. Spoiler alert, this show came out in like 1993.
Yeah,
September 10th.
I would hope y'all would.
Yeah, most people probably have seen this by now, but just in case you haven't and you looking for something else, watch about aliens. This is an excellent show to get into. Like, and it's old as hell, but hey, if you like aliens and stuff and just weird stuff happening, get into it. That's right. It involves like Agent Scully and Mulder and Scully who investigate X-Files. They face aliens, mutants, government cover-ups, all type of stuff. But how much of that stuff was real? Like real.
So the first season was what, 24 episodes, went from 93 to 94. It's pretty long now if you think about it, because what most shows do, what, eight episodes one season?
8 to 10 episodes usually.
Yeah, so it had like Monster of the Week, had all kinds of mythologies, abductions and shit. But most of this was based on Mulder's obsession with trying to figure out what happened to his sister. How Scully gets brought in is she was brought in to not debunk, but just to report on Mulder's findings to, you know, the upper folk. We're gonna talk about the main episodes. We'll just start off with the pilot. The pilot episode is where Mulder and Scully are investigating. Team Girl gets found in the forest and shit. It deals with alien implants, and the town there is like covering shit up. The Smoking Man does get introduced.
Smoking Man.
And then that's when we first get to see the "I Want to Believe" poster. And that pilot episode is legit. Like, I've seen it a whole bunch of times now. Even though Dana, I forgot her.
Gillian Anderson.
Yeah, Gillian Anderson. You can tell because she was a new actress, and I think at that point. But just the vibe between her and Mulder was very nice.
Yeah, it was. People was wanting them. Yeah. We waiting to see them get together.
Yeah.
Like, they waited for a long time for
Hell
them to
yeah,
get
they
together.
did,
Like, it just kept teetering on it. Okay, then we move on to episode 2. It's called Deep Throat, which is the weirdest title I've ever seen.
Hell yeah.
The name of it's the dude, his name, I guess that's his code name. His code name is Deep Throat. He fed Mulder different like just stuff that's going on, like that's alien that has something to do with the X-Files. Like, he was always pointing Mulder in the right direction.
Yeah. This episode was where the pilot, his wife reported that he was missing, but before that he had showed up to his house all sick and shit. It's because they were test pilot for a UFO aircraft. The next one
called Conduit. It's about a girl vanishing, echoes Mulder's sister abduction. So he kind of got into that because his sister got abducted, and that's what he's mainly why he's trying to do all this stuff. Anomalies. Mulder breaks down. Scully sees his pain. This personalizes the arc, driving Mulder's quest for seasons to come. Like we said, like, it's based off his. Like you said, based off his sister that went missing a long time ago, and I always wonder, is something out there that took her, and he's trying to find the truth. Yeah, and that's like what's pushing him all this time.
Fallen Angel episode 10. I like this episode. There's a UFO crash site, and then in Wisconsin, there's this invisible alien. And what the military does is they decide to fake like it was either a down chemical vessel or it was a chemical leak exposure or some shit like that. Mulder tries to go and photograph it, and then they end up locking his ass up. But it was a pretty good one.
Yeah, my boy, the guy, he was a cool guy in there. Like, he believed in aliens just like Mulder did.
Yeah. You talking about the nightcap? Nightcap. The dude with the nightcap hat.
Yes, he was cool, man. He was very cool. Y'all should. That was a pretty good episode.
Episode 10 was legit. The next one, EBE, extraterrestrial biological entities. If I remember that right. Episode 17.
Look at you.
Yeah, EVs, yeah. In this episode, they're tracking a truck that's supposed to be carrying a body of an alien, but Deep Throat is planting false evidence on Mulder. He tried to explain that there was a reason that he was doing that, but it's to me that was all bullshit at the same time. I think that he was trying to give Mulder truth and lies. Yeah, he says it later down the road. He was trying to give him truth and lies to see how Mulder would react.
Episode 24 is the last, the finale. It's called the End.
Erlenmeyer Flash.
Erlenmeyer Flash. I literally just watched this episode. Like how Scully confronted the Deep Throat guy. Like she was saying, like she didn't trust him, and even Mulder, he told Mulder himself that he fed Mulder a lie, and Mulder came back and said this was like he gave him a fake picture. Scully finds alien DNA in the Flash. Green-blooded fugitive, which is dude, he was alien DNA pretty much.
Yeah, it all had to do with that thing. Was it Project Purity?
Yes,
something like that. Yeah,
Project Purity. Yeah. And Deep Throat guides them, gets killed by the Syndicate. X-Files shut down, cliffhanger.
The Syndicate was the group of alien shapeshifters.
Dude, them dudes were hardcore. Kidnapped Mulder. Well, they was hell-bent on trying to catch this escape alien or escape extraterrestrial guy. Because that happened at the beginning of the show, of the particular episode. This dude, I thought he couldn't get killed at first. And eventually they end up getting him. And then Mulder, I guess, after they shot extraterrestrial guy, like some oils leaked out and got into Mulder's eye and messed up his eye. And Mulder was pretty much just like subdued. And then they caught him, tried to get Scully to deliver this alien fetus.
Yeah, that was the part of the Purity Project shit. It's because they try to use it as blackmail, try to save Mulder and shit, which they did end up doing. Well, I mean, that's where pretty much the season ended. So the Syndicate, the aliens and shit, they shot Deep Throat, and then Mulder and Scully are still alive, but then Mulder tells Scully that the X-Files are done. I like this because it leaves it open, and then at the same time it closes the story arc.
But we all know it's not really done.
Oh yeah.
X-Files goes on for another.
No, but back then, like we didn't know that.
Yeah, you didn't know that.
Yeah, you didn't know if it was gonna come back on. I mean, what? I think the X-Files lasted, was it 10, 11 fucking seasons?
Yeah,
and shit?
it lasted a long ass time. Long ass time. So, and I love all those episodes they had.
I really enjoyed the main episodes. Here's one thing that always bugged me: is like Scully saw that she had an alien fetus or an alien thing in a jar to trade her over for Mulder's life. Did she forget about that later in the season?
But okay, so the person that was he the director or the writer? So Chris Carter.
Chris Carter. Yeah.
Well, what was some of his inspirations?
Going to Chris Carter's background, I think he was born in 1956. He worked in like a magazine screenwriter for Disney, and then he drew his inspirations from, I think, The Night Stalker, Silence of the Lamb, and
that was good.
The Watergate distrust and shit. He also drew a big inspiration from a ufologist called John Mack. John Mack is somebody that said or claimed that he was abducted by aliens.
I didn't know this. Believe it or not, that for us the casting, Mulder and Scully, they wanted Pamela Anderson to play Scully, Gillian Anderson's.
Well, not just that, they wanted some big booby lady to play her. That's what they were looking for.
And if you look at it now, I can't see that.
Yeah, it's because
we wouldn't be able to take her seriously because everybody be looking at her damn titties.
Yeah, but that's what they were looking for back in that shit. Remember all the fucking 90s films and shit like that. They had big titty shit. Yeah, like Pamela Anderson was alright.
She was big back then though. She was one of the biggest actresses back in the 90s.
But that's what they wanted, and I'm glad that Chris Carter didn't go in that direction. Too. Yeah, because he chose Scully, which is just not even more believable. She's very beautiful.
Yes,
Gillian Anderson is very beautiful.
Yes, she is.
She is more believable as who she played. Just going back to what we said, the chemistry.
They just together, them two just together.
Something
it's so
about
natural.
Him. Yeah.
Natural looking.
I think even he said it is when he first saw Mulder, he was like, "That's fucking Mulder. I want him to be Mulder and shit." The show wouldn't have not been. It wouldn't have been the X-Files if it wasn't for them, because there's proof of that. They bring on other actors later down the seasons, and it just doesn't work the same. But yeah, that was a crazy part of it.
Okay, so back when watching the show, because you got Mulder believed in aliens mainly. Like, he was like, for anything, because he was looking for the truth.
Yeah.
But then you got Scully was more like, truth stuff gotta be, it gotta be like proven. Question that was brought up was, which one of you did you believe, like how Scully does, like just everything gotta be like proved by medical and science, with Mulder, which is more like truth, like he's trying to, like the conspiracy part of it. And
but hold up though, both of them bring up a good side to it, right? But I think there was a quote that you said that.
Yeah, so Scully, this is in episode 17 though. Mulder was just so hell bent on like whatever story that Deep Throat gave him. This is when he found out that picture was fake. Before he found out, she said, "You just want to keep believing everything." He said, "Yeah, the truth is out there, but so are lies." So I was like, "Damn, that was a bar right there from her." And he couldn't even say nothing against that. He was just like, okay, and then he just left out. But it's true. I mean, it is some things out there that people can't explain, but also there's a lot of lies that people try to fool people to make you think is something going on too.
No, and that's the good part about Scully is she kept Mulder grounded. Some people don't like that part of it, but keeping him grounded in terms of it was, I don't know, it added way more to the show if it were just, oh, okay, aliens or all this and that, and I don't know, it was just a different kind of setting and kind of vibe.
Right.
That if she wasn't there, it wasn't gonna be like that, and I really like that part.
Yeah, and the reason why they put her on there is to like basically kind of look after his whatever he find and see. I guess what she did was kind of like always be that person that kind of go up against him. Yeah, challenge him a little bit,
and he needed that.
Yeah, he did need it, because some stuff he said was, you think, what the hell are you talking about? But I mean, he was right a lot of the time. But she was like, maybe it's this, because that's more logical. A lot of times she was right. I mean, she was right sometimes. Yeah, so they kind of balanced each other.
Question that we did have that we brought up is, how much of this was based on events like Roswell and stuff like that? There are a lot of episodes that are inspired from the events that happened.
You can deny all the things I've seen, all the things I've discovered, but not for much longer. Because too many others know what's happening out there. And no government agency has jurisdiction over the truth.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Late this afternoon, a bulletin from New Mexico suggested that the widely publicized mystery of the flying saucers may soon be solved. Army Air Force officers reported that one of the strange discs had been found and inspected sometime last week. Our correspondents in Los Angeles and Chicago have been in contact with Army officials endeavoring to obtain all possible late information. Joe Wilson reports to us now from Chicago. The Army may be getting to the bottom of all this talk about the so-called flying saucers. As a matter of fact, the 509th Atomic Bomb Group headquarters at Roswell, New Mexico, reports that it has received one of the discs which landed on a ranch outside Roswell. The disc landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico, and the rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brizell was the man who discovered the saucer. Colonel William Blanchard of the Roswell Air Base refuses to give details of what the flying disc looks like. In Fort Worth, Texas, where the object was first sent, Brigadier General Roger Ramey says that it is being shipped by air to the AAF Research Center at Wright Field, Ohio. A few moments ago, I talked to officials at Wright Field, and they declared that they expect the so-called flying saucer to be delivered there, but that it hasn't arrived as yet. In the meantime, General Ramey describes the object as being of flimsy construction, almost like a box kite. He says that it was so battered that he was unable to determine whether it had a disc form, and he does not indicate its size. Ramey says that so far as can be determined, no one saw the object in the air, and he describes it as being made of some sort of tinfoil. Other Army officials say that further information indicates that the object had a diameter of about 20 to 25 feet, and that nothing in the apparent construction indicated any capacity for speed and that there was no evidence of a power plant. The disc also appeared too flimsy to carry a man.
Roswell was in July 1947. There was a disc that crashed in New Mexico. How the Roswell story goes down is the government tried to cover that event up, and the government got a whole bunch of tech from that spaceship. That was also the grades and shit. There was bodies recovered. So the event that went down in Roswell is important, but one thing that people don't know is there was an earlier event that went down in 1941. Yeah, in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Yeah, which is where the government got a lot of its foreknowledge from.
I think that's Garrido.
Oh, Gerardo? Yeah, Gerardo, Missouri. So I never fucking heard of it until I looked into it. Everybody knows Roswell. Here's the thing. There's other events after that. Apparently there was a second crash. There was not only that one crash, there was a second event. That goes down into the episode where the invisible alien and then how the military folks try to like cover it up and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then earlier we had brought up that how John Mack was this dude that said he got abducted. I think he got put on the hypnosis to try to see how much he was telling the truth. I just wonder how much of it he got from all that. Like he got from real world events. The thing is now a lot of those stories have been debunked to a certain degree. We don't 100% know.
For those who may be wondering, like, I want to believe, speaking of the poster we have right behind Tony here,
Yeah.
I want to believe the alien poster was inspired by Ed Rocha, reflects a skeptical believer, balanced root in real UFO culture.
No, that poster I've been trying to look for that. The original one. A lot of people have been too, but
yeah, you're probably not gonna find that book. Cause this poster here was actually, it looks like the real original one. Like when you first see Fox Mulder in his office in the X-Files episode 1, the pilot episode, that you see this poster. Well, the original on the wall in his office.
Now, all right. So another part of it is the real world influence is the CIA, Central Intelligence Agency.
Mm-hmm.
There were rumors Chris Carter was getting information from the CIA. That's where he got some of his scripts. Now, this goes back, I think, into a Huffington Post article.
Yeah.
And then Alex Jones also talked about it, how he was getting information fed from the CIA. How much of this is truth? I have no idea, but that's fucking crazy. If he was getting information from the CIA, do you know about Project Mockingbird?
I've heard of something.
So Project Mockingbird is the government using media to feed us false information to try to propagandize. You know, people and shit to believing their shit. So that was part of what this was supposed to be. Well, here, what do you think about the CIA planting false information and shit? Where it was it was a project. The government tested syphilis and shit on people, and not only that, they tested pesticides on people just to see the reaction.
No, I didn't hear that.
You haven't read about that shit?
Nope.
The government infected syphilis into people willfully just to see how they would react. Yeah, look it up. What?
That's supposed to be common knowledge or something?
Yeah, it's common knowledge. This guy.
Tuskegee.
All right, what's the Tuskegee incident?
U.S. Public Health Service conducted this study between 1932 and 1972, observing effects of untreated syphilis in African American men in Alabama. Participants were deceived into believing that they were receiving treatment for bad blood. They were not offered effective treatment even after penicillin became available.
They were, with the knowledge, running experiments on people. That's part of what it goes back into a lot of the X-Files episodes. The government knew a whole bunch of shit and still decided not to say anything about it, right? There's this guy that's well known in the UFO community. His name is Richard Doty in the Mirage Man. All right, so Richard Doty was a big CIA plant, or he was a big government plant. What he did is he fed false information to this other dude called Paul Benowitz. Paul Benowitz was a UFO researcher. Before he did that, he had an engineering background or some science background and shit, where he actually built stuff for the military. So he was a legit dude. And until he ended up seeing some shit out in the desert that he believed to be UFOs. So Paul Benowitz, he was able to read government communications, radio broadcasts, secret shit like that. He was able to find all this shit out. he was kind of smart and dumb enough to go and tell the government, "Hey, I got all this information and all these broadcasts on you guys." And the government's like, "Oh fuck!" But he had all this secret information. They didn't want him to know how secret it was. So they lied to his ass and told him, "No, yeah, that's some weird alien tech." Then they brought in that dude Richard Doty to even put more lies on top of it of what they had already told him. I think it was either him that he said he wanted to research it more because he believed it was alien technology. They were like, "We'll let you research it, but you gotta give us all your information, right?" And then that's what this Doty dude, he just kept feeding him a bunch of bullshit. They fed him information like, UFOs were flying over his house or UFOs were flying wherever his area was. They took him out to see like new military tech, but then they
Kind of
lied
what
it.
Deep Throat was doing to Mulder a little
Yes,
bit.
yes. So this where all this shit kind of ties up, right? So this dude, the Doty dude, willingly lied to Paul Benowitz. And what happened was Benowitz became fucking crazy. They had to eventually put him in the institution because he lost his fucking mind. I think at some point they tried to tell him, "No, it's not 100% true." Somebody tried to tell him it's not, and we were just fucking with you. And here's proof that we were fucking with you. And he's like, "No, no, no." He was so into it. He's like, "No, no, what you're just telling me is lies from the alien." So he went so fucking far in.
Damn.
This goes back into that where you said Scully had told him this dude wanted to believe the truth so much he was willing to go that far.
Yeah, he was. That's every
Yeah,
time, bro.
yeah.
He had no chill.
Do you know a bit of the origins of not just Deep Throat but the Smoking Man?
Well, the origin of the Smoking Man, I don't know too much about the origin of the Smoking Man, but I just know of the Smoking Man. I know that throughout all the seasons of X-Files,
Yeah.
that he appeared, like he just seemed to appear out of nowhere. He was
What did
always
the
smoking
what
some
did the
type of
Smoking
blunt.
Man always do? Well, no, he tried to control the information that was
Oh
being
yeah,
given to
okay.
Mulder. There's also a deeper revelation down the road that's like further seasons shit. What I think is the Smoking Man was part of. It was a link to what is known as the Mirage Man or the MJ-12.
Do you believe that various presidents have been informed about what you believe to be the truth on UFOs?
Each president has been informed up to and including President Reagan. I'm not sure to the extent they are informed. Privately, I don't believe they are giving the full briefing. The people that control this information is a organization that we know of as MJ-12, and they're top group of military and scientists. And I do know that when the president becomes president, it takes at least 3 or 4 months before he actually gets the clearance to know everything there is. Now that doesn't mean
the Majestic 12 is 12 of the top, not just government officials, but 12 of the top people that control all of the information that is fed to the government in terms of intelligence, UFO shit, all kinds of shit like that. And they control it all, right? They control all that information, like new tech. Because further down the seasons, the Smoking Man is with this other crew of government agents that control a lot of scenarios that are going down. I don't know if you heard about this event that supposedly happened back when Eisenhower was president, right? It was a treaty between Eisenhower and the Greys. Do you know about that?
Do y'all know about that?
Yeah.
It's a quick question. Do y'all know about this Eisenhower Gray?
Yeah. So what? President Eisenhower supposedly that he had either a dentist appointment or he had died or some shit like that, but there are no records that show that he went to a doctor. The other story behind it is he ended up set up a meeting between the Greys, the aliens, right? And in this meeting, we set up a somewhat of a peace treaty to let the Greys abduct anybody they wanted, but we would get their technology. It's part of the X-Files mythology, like all the Grey shit. A lot of the tech that we have now is from Roswell, and it's also from that treaty that we did between the aliens. There was an explosion of technologies from the 40s. The big industrial boom that came out of fucking nowhere, at least people say. So this continues down. How the government continues to lie to people, right? Now this is further down the show. It was in season 5, episode 13. It's where
Patient X Government
mhm.
Lies. That's the name of the episode. Mulder and Scully meet Cassandra Spencer, a woman who claims to be a multiple abductee who wants to deliver a positive message about Mulder, who now is skeptical of extraterrestrial activity, believes that the government is behind the abduction phenomenon, and is disturbed when Scully forms a special bond with the woman.
Mhm. So the women are from a group known as, this is a real group. It's called MUFON. They research UFO phenomena and shit like that. There was a dude that went. So this is outside. This happened in a real convention. It was a MUFON convention. Bill Moore. Bill Moore. He was a dude that wrote a book about the events in Roswell. He gave a speech at this convention, and he had said how Richard Doty and the government had given him false information. In this episode, the season 5, episode 13, the same thing happened. Well, Mulder was like, the government has fed y'all lies. He pretty much was the Bill Moore character.
What if there is simply just the military seeking to develop an arsenal of weapons against which there is no defense? Biological warfare, which justifies in their eyes making an ass out of the nation with stories of little green men. A conspiracy wrapped in a plot inside a government agenda.
What I'm just trying to say with all this is how I think that Chris Carter either intentionally or unintentionally got all his information from either real world or stuff that we talked about in the real world.
I can see
How he
that.
got all his inspirations and shit from it.
And back in like in the 90s, I think Aliens, and then shows like Sightings back then, because I used to watch that, like alien abductions and sightings, and that was a big thing back then too. So
Yeah.
I mean, probably just as popular as it is now. I mean, I don't think it's been a time where Aliens has always been popular. It's always been people wondering what's going on with that.
But the Air Force has said time and time again, and this is a quote from Richard Horner, Assistant Secretary of the Air Force for Research and Development. All but a small percentage of these reports of unidentified flying objects have been definitely attributed to natural phenomena that are neither mysterious nor dire, end quote. What about that?
I'll answer that, but I'd like to make several points doing it. In 1947, the Air Technical Intelligence Center at Dayton, the top Air Force intelligence men and scientists under contract, sent a secret document to the Commanding General of the Air Force saying that whatever these things were, they were real. In 1948, ATIC, the same group, sent a top secret estimate to the Commanding General. Hoyt Vandenberg said these were interplanetary spaceships. And in 53, the Central Intelligence Agency and the Air Force had a special panel of scientists meet at the Pentagon to tell them what to do. And after they got through, this group said, you don't have proof that these things exist, not scientific proof, but you have a very strong circumstantial case. We suggest you quadruple the investigation, set up special observation posts, in the meantime, release everything you've got to the American people. And they have been spending a lot of money investigating flying saucers. If they don't exist, why the money? Why did the intelligence teams rush out every time there's a sighting?
Or just stuff that's happening, like JFK, like the Tuskegee Airmen, that stuff like that has always been conspiracy stuff, and I think it's gonna always be around. Much as long as they keep trying to cover this stuff up and not really being forthright with the information.
Yeah.
It's always going to be people coming up with their own conspiracies and stuff. Yeah, this episode is basically just proving what you just said, how people out there are trying to hide the truth. Which is, I'm kind of thinking that this episode, it says that Mulder is now skeptical. Like, I forgot that he became skeptical.
He becomes skeptical
like
later down.
He is, like, now, well, in the first few seasons, he was like, yeah, he just
super...
Yeah,
truth. Like,
yeah, he just believes everything almost. But now they messed him up. He's like, look, y'all, I don't believe it until I see it. Which is kind of, to me, that's kind of how I got. Like, at one point, I was like all into this, like aliens and stuff like that, and sightings, and because I used to watch all that stuff. But then after a while, I started thinking, I'm more like, I need to see stuff before I actually believe it. I gotta see some type of proof or something before I believe it.
So you on the Scully side?
I guess I am. I guess I'm Scully
you on
right
side
now.
Scully. Yeah.
The thing is, Mother turned into the Scully side. Seemed like eventually. I don't know. That's just how I'm rocking with it with that.
Did you watch the interview that Chris Carter did with Mulder? Yeah, David Duchovny. Yeah, he has a podcast. that he did.
Oh no, I didn't know that. Okay, that been cool.
Yeah, he did an interview with Chris Carter. It was pretty good. I recommend it if you haven't seen it.
David Duchovny has a podcast.
Yeah, Failing Up or something like that. Just look up David Duchovny podcast. Failing. He's gonna old though, but
Of course he is. This has been a while.
The X-Files has talked a lot about UFO shit. You know, they've drawn from real world shit, right? And there's been all kinds of fucking government cover up. CIA with Osama bin Laden. Look at the if you even start to research shit like 9/11, look up shit that the Las Vegas shooting, fuck man. The government has been all kinds of shit. How much of you do you think of it as truth? How much do you think of it could be fact, like alien treaties and shit like that? You know,
the fact that they keep covering up so much, I think a lot of it is true.
Yeah,
because
there's gotta be
if it's not, it gotta be something out there. Why you keep hiding this stuff if it's not anything?
Yeah.
If it wouldn't be anything to hide, then you wouldn't be hiding.
Right.
I just don't like the fact that you think that. I think it's a power thing because I was looking at this last episode of the X-Files and on episode 24, just how at the end you have Smoking Man. That's right.
That was the baby in the flash.
He put him in the box. It's just I had a whole sense of like I'm trying to cover this. I'm trying to keep this quiet so the people won't know it because they don't believe the people can handle it. But at the same time, I think you're really doing it because it gives you some type of power. So knowing that you got this information and the people don't have it, so it's like it make you feel more powerful knowing that you got all this uncovered information and you can, and it makes them feel good that I don't know. That's how I look at it, and like you got this over people. I know this and you don't, type of thing.
This guy earlier that brought up, Richard Doty, he was in a campaign to bring distrust to the UFO community just to make people go crazy and say all kinds of shit, right? In the end, this dude, he ended up coming back full circle and saying a lot of what happened is real, right? But not just that, So he had mentioned in one of his interviews that the government chose him and people like him. But before they did that, the government sat his ass down and they showed him actual tapes or actual proof of UFO. This dude saw that shit and then he was later told too much information and then he came back around and believed that. But my question is, was that originally part of the government also setting up their own misinformation campaign to get other people to start another misinformation campaign? The government, the military showed him videos and all kinds of shit. But were they in themselves trying to set up false information campaign just to fuck with people?
Possible.
Yeah, no, that's fucking crazy shit. I was wondering about that shit. I was like,
they do that a lot.
Yeah. Was that not an experiment in them own selves to try to see how far that would go down the rabbit hole to see what people would push or do? The dude pushed the false information that they gave him, but then he ended up flipping and then coming back. But it was just weird. I wonder if that in itself was part of the whole experiment. No, it's fucking crazy because like the X-Files go covers a bit of this shit. But I don't know. What about?
I think you're right though on that.
Yeah. Okay. What about? I think you mentioned earlier. Like, what are your favorite episodes?
Yeah. I was gonna get into Yeah. Okay, so I was gonna tell you like when I first started watching this, when we were rewatching these episodes, like.
I think there was a Thing episode that you said.
Yeah, it was like, but I'm talking about my feeling of watching this again. Like I ain't watched this X-Files since I was my teenage years. That was a long time ago. Just watching this again, I got a feeling nostalgia, just how I felt back then. I love watching it. I did come up like so far out of this season 1, I got like 2 episodes that I do like out of all those episodes on there. Like I told you, the episodes I'm going to do was flipping bodies, that he was able to change bodies. The FBI agent got killed. They got killed at the same time, but he did a soul swap. He was able to, when they was trying to save the FBI agent, because both of them was in the hospital, the emergency room, where they tried to save both of them, and his soul was able to get into the agent's soul, Agent Willis' body. So he and Agent Willis, I thought they were gonna flip bodies, but they didn't. They just pretty much killed Agent Willis, like he was gone. Then the guy that was supposed to be dead, like the bad guy, the robber, got into his body.
Yeah.
So, and he was playing that character the whole time, the rest of the way. So that was a pretty good episode, right? And what was that one? I think it was episode where the dude was the girl. She had her boss died. He never really died. He was still protect. He was dead, but his spirit was pretty much protecting her, and it pretty much eventually helped them solve a case because it was one guy that set him up to get killed. I guess he ended up getting back at him as a spirit, which is cool. Those are two cool episodes that I've watched that I really liked. And I was looking for another episode, but it wasn't this season. I think it's in a later seasons. What about you?
Fuck, man. I don't know. This shit is hard because like there was other ones. I think there was one where this dude could stretch himself and hide in vents. Shit, that was alright.
Yeah.
I couldn't fucking pick a fucking episode.
Sure, it's gonna have something to do with the UFO.
No, all the UFO ones are legit, but
just all the alien ones. He like all the alien,
just
episodes.
the alien shit, and then that to me is
okay.
That's what always hooked my ass, and that's what always drew me.
I think when it comes down to it, that's basically what this show is mainly about, the aliens, but they had to have fillers. A bunch of fillers. Like, they couldn't talk about aliens the whole damn time. But they were some good episodes.
Alright, for X-Files, I watch this shit almost every fucking day. It's on Comment TV. I don't know if y'all get that channel, but it's on live TV. So I always have it running in the background. And I'm always fucking watching random episodes of the X-Files almost every fucking day. To me, I love the entire show.
Okay.
The show is fucking legit. Like,
so guys, what's your favorite season 1 episode? Was it aliens in Roswell or was it BS? Did Chris Carter get CIA help?
Intelligence,
yeah. Drop it in the comment, smash that like button, and subscribe. Peace out.
Into the zone where we discuss what's shown on the MNT podcast, where minds get blown from the latest movies to the comics and the TV shows.